The phrase passive income gets used in a way that creates a fundamentally misleading picture of what building it actually involves. The misleading part is the word passive. It implies that the income arrives without significant work having been done to produce the conditions that allow it to arrive. It implies that there is a shortcut, a mechanism, a thing you set up once that then generates money indefinitely without sustained effort or investment. That version of passive income is largely a fantasy. The real version is something quite different and significantly more interesting. The system that sells while you sleep is not passive in any meaningful sense of the word. It is the result of a specific kind of front-loaded work that was done deliberately over a sustained period to build the architecture that makes ongoing delivery possible without ongoing manual involvement. The income that comes from it can feel passive because the work that generates it is no longer happening in real time. But the work happened. It was just invested in structure rather than consumed in transactions. Most builders think passive income means no work. It does not. It means front-loaded work. The system that sells while you sleep did not appear fully formed. It was built deliberately over time through a specific sequence of decisions about what to document, what to automate, and what to systematize, so that the delivery of value no longer requires the builder to be present every time value is delivered. The income is passive. The architecture that produces it was not. Understanding this reframe matters because it changes how you approach building the system. If you believe passive income is about finding the right shortcut, the search leads you toward tactics and tools and platforms that promise to do the work for you. If you understand that passive income is about front-loaded architectural work, the question becomes not what tool can I use, but what structure do I need to build and in what sequence do I need to build it. There is a specific point in the development of any income system where it crosses a threshold. Before the threshold, the system requires active input to generate output. The builder has to show up for the output to happen. After the threshold, the system generates output independently of whether the builder shows up or not. That threshold is called the autonomy point, and most builders spend their entire career approaching it without crossing it because they keep extracting value from the system before it has accumulated enough structure to sustain itself without them. I spent several years in that pattern, building toward autonomy and then redirecting the energy I had invested into building toward servicing the new demand that the building had generated. The system would get more capable, and then the capacity that had been freed would immediately get consumed by more of the same kind of active delivery work I had been trying to reduce. The autonomy point kept moving because the extraction kept pace with the accumulation. The system never got far enough ahead of the demand to become genuinely self-sustaining. Breaking that pattern required making a deliberate decision to protect a portion of the capacity that the system freed for further building rather than immediately redeploying it into delivery. That decision was uncomfortable because the delivery demand was real, and the building investment did not produce immediate revenue. But it was the only thing that eventually allowed the system to accumulate enough structure to cross the autonomy point. The system that sells while you sleep is not one thing. It is a stack. Content that keeps finding the right people after it was created. A positioning layer that qualifies fit before the conversation starts. A nurture mechanism that builds trust over time without requiring ongoing manual effort. An offer that is specific enough to sell itself to the right person without needing a custom pitch every time. Each layer does a job. Together, they produce sales that happen without the founder being present in every transaction. Most builders have one layer. The system requires all of them. Building the stack is a sequential process. You cannot build the nurture mechanism before the positioning is clear because the nurture mechanism has nothing coherent to reinforce. You cannot build an offer that sells itself before there is enough trust in the market for it to sell into. The sequence matters, and most builders who attempt to build the system out of sequence end up with components that do not connect into a functioning whole. The content layer almost always comes first because it is the mechanism that generates the trust that everything else depends on. Content that is specific, consistent, and genuinely useful to the right people builds trust at scale without requiring the builder to be personally present in every interaction. That trust is the foundation. Without it, the other layers have nothing to stand on. The positioning layer clarifies who the content is for and what problem it is addressing, so that the right people can self-identify and the wrong people can disengage before consuming significant time on either side. The nurture mechanism takes the people who have self-identified and deepens their understanding of and trust in what the builder offers over time. And the offer layer provides a specific, clearly scoped way for the people who have been nurtured to convert into clients or customers without requiring a custom sales process for each one. When all four layers are functioning, the system produces a specific experience that every builder who has built it describes in almost exactly the same way. You wake up to activity that happened while you were not working, conversations that started, purchases that were made, interest that was expressed. None of it required you to be present. All of it was produced by the structure you built. That is the system that sells while you sleep. It is not magic, and it is not passive in the way the phrase implies. It is architecture, deliberately built, sequentially assembled, and maintained with enough consistency that it keeps functioning over time without the builder having to be the engine of every transaction. Next, we are going to talk about something that surprises almost every builder who reaches a certain level of skill. Why getting better at your craft eventually stops paying off, and what is actually happening when that ceiling appears. I will see you tomorrow.